With so much information and data that require review, it will be difficult to track if we do not document the management review process and outcomes properly. So, how do we go about doing it? How do you document a management review? First, record decisions of the management review for follow-up actions. Next, track action items from management review to completion in accordance with organizational procedures. Let's look at how we can record decisions. The records will include the following: minutes of review sessions conducted, specific corrective, preventive, or improvement actions and plans with assigned responsibility and target dates for completion, changes and organizational WSH policy and objectives that reflect current work environment and work activities, changes to specific features of the management system, changes in WSH roles, responsibilities, and authorities of organizational personnel due to the change in work environment and other factors, date of review for action items. We talked about recording decisions. How about tracking the action items? To track action items, obtain updates of action item status from person in charge. For example, you need the updates of the safe work procedure, risk level of specific high-risk activities, and implementation of control measures, as well as the implementation of WSH promotion. In addition, you have to consider other action items such as the enhancement of WSH training and emergency preparedness. By now, you can see that outcomes from management reviews can be varied and labor-intensive. Being meticulous is critical to getting this job done well. The good news is that you can use technology to help you track the action items. For example, computer programs such as online, email, spreadsheets, and databases can reduce the time needed to complete the work. However, if your organization is not ready to use or invest in technology, manual methods such as checklists, tracking forms are just as effective, although slightly more labor-intensive. There are two kinds of documentation and a data control system to be established. The first kind is the hard copy documentation system, and the second kind is the online documentation system. Let's run through the first kind. For hard copy documentation system, the master electronic documents are stored in Word. A master list is prepared and kept in Excel, and hard copies are copied onto paper that is marked controlled. For example, the hard copies are distributed in 3-ring notebooks throughout the work area. A master list is created to indicate what procedures and what instructions need to be in each book. Copies are kept to a minimum by only distributing relevant documents to each department or section in the organization. One person is designated as the document control coordinator. This person keeps the master list up to date, makes revisions to documents, distributes revised documents, and collects the outdated documents. The second system is the online documentation system. A database is set up to contain procedures and work instructions. These may be organized in a chapter system with a chapter for each clause of the standard. Procedures and work instructions are written in or loaded into the system. Employees are given rights such as system administrator, author, editor, approver, and read-only, so as to maintain confidentiality of the data. It will also reduce the possibility of sabotage or accidental corruption of the data by reducing the number of personnel with full access rights to the database. When the document is approved, It is automatically moved into the OSH documents and becomes available to those with read rights. The documents may be viewed on the screen or printed. Printed documents are controlled by a sunset clause. The date printed appears on all printed documents. Documents are valid only for the date they are printed. Some hard copy distribution may be necessary. A master list may be kept for distributed documents. Controlled hard copies need to be identified. Revisions are made by the author and must be reviewed and approved by the editor and approver. The author must determine if the changes affect any process that is being performed that day. Finally, the current regulations require management reviews at least once every 6 months for work sites with a contract sum of less than $30 million and at least once every 12 months for shipyards in which less than 200 persons are employed. In summary, to coordinate a management review, it is important that preparations are properly carried out. Getting the relevant stakeholders to be present is definitely key. Proper review of the areas must be conducted. Last but not least, documentation of the management review must be in place. We have so much to do. How do we do it well? There are no easy answers. Do you have other thoughts about the case? Write them down and discuss further with your colleagues and other practitioners. Here we have a short summary on the WSH management review processes. Pause if you need more time to reflect or read. Enjoy. Recall what you have learned in this section and write down 2 points you remember most clearly. The insight of how to conduct a management review on workplace safety and health management systems. It is good to exercise what you have learned into practice. Feel free to revisit the section if you're still in doubt before moving on to the next topic.